So, good morning, Wake Forest Baptist family. We are in the season of Thanksgiving, which provides opportunities but also provides challenges. I know for many of you, your hearts are overflowing, others of you, not so much. And the challenge of Thanksgiving is to find that grateful heart when hearts are heavy. Maybe it's difficult finances, maybe it's the death of somebody, the empty chair around that table for the first time. Maybe it's your own declining health, or maybe it's just loneliness or struggles, whatever they may be. I know I have friends who have cancer right now. I have one of my very, very best friends is not expected to live even until Thanksgiving. So, what do we do with our Thanksgivings? Because it makes all the difference, the level of our hearts and souls. So I would say if you maybe are in that place where Thanksgiving right now is hard, to maybe look at your Thanksgivings for the past and look at your Thanksgivings for the future. Your Thanksgivings for the past. Surely goodness and mercy have followed us all the days of our lives. And I think about looking back, we've been in this season of pandemic. I remember the first month of pandemic. I very was aware and very intentional when I did my prayers at night. Thank you for another day of health when everything was going haywire. I haven't found myself saying that as much lately, but really, why? It's still every bit as important. But to give thanks for the past, if you're watching this, you're alive when over 600,000 in our own country are not. So be thankful that God has carried you through and all the riches that has been yours along the way. But then give thanks for tomorrow. We as Christians know that God has the last word. The last thing that happens to us is the best thing. You've heard me say a prayer of mine so often is, God, 5 years from now, I trust that what I'm going through right now will be a gift that you gave me. So many things I've worried about through the years that just never happened. And I could have I gave so much of my energy away to it. So give thanks for the future. God's going to be a part of it. I just want to share a funny little story, a simple story that I just think captures what is so much at the heart of my Thanksgiving and where I place my Thanksgiving. So this was written by E.Y. Mullins, who was the founder of Southern Seminary, where I went out in Louisville, Kentucky, incredible theologian. So he wrote these words. He said, he was talking about three little mice born who lived inside a grand piano. They never lived outside that instrument, yet they carefully and scientifically observed the world in which they lived. They observed a hammer at one place and a chord in another place. For reasons they didn't know, in a timing they couldn't anticipate. From time to time, the hammer would strike the chord. The chord would then vibrate and give off sounds. Almost immediately, another hammer would strike another chord. It would produce other vibrations and sounds, and then there would be multiple and simultaneous strikes of the chords and sounds that they were pleasant to hear. Like little scientists, they described what they experienced: hammers, chords, blows, vibrations, sounds, music, cause and effect. One day, one of the mice threw out the question, "Don't you think there is something behind all this?" His fellow mice balked. "There is nothing beyond this," they decreed, "for we see all that is here." They just missed the question of the curious mouse. But the mouse who raised the question about a cause continued to wonder. One day he decided to search for truth, wherever the search might lead him, and it led him into an opening in the piano and into the world outside. He crawled courageously through the opening and looked around at a world that was previously beyond his imagination. Then his eyes nearly popped out of his head, for there, seated at a bench alongside the piano, was a being far bigger than he. This being far bigger than himself began to strike the piano with his fingers, causing the hammers to strike the chords, and thus causing the vibrations and the music. The little mouse scampered back inside the piano and reported to his fellow mice what he had seen. That indeed there was a cause. Someone was behind the music. Yet the mice on the inside mocked him. You're letting your imaginations run wild, they said. You're a mystic, they said. And the two skeptical mice lived the rest of their lives thinking the music was just a matter of chance. But not the mouse who had seen the source. He knew the music didn't just randomly happen. He appreciated the music at a level much deeper than the other two could, for he has seen the one behind the music. There you have it. We are not left to ourselves. We, of all people, know that there's someone behind the music of our lives, someone playing it out, and we're all just fine. And so, count your many blessings, name them one by one. This is the day the Lord has made. We rejoice and give thanks. Have a good Thanksgiving. See you next Wednesday.